Winners from week 9. Heath's winners are the West Boca 7th grade Breakers. They won the championship, completed an undefeated season, and Heath has a big belt to show for it. That is awesome. Michael Carter was one of his winners as well. Joe Mixon.
We talked about my winners.
Okay, Dave's winners. Luckily, Dave gave us 6. Now he gave us 4. We got wide receivers Garrett Wilson and Josh Palmer, who both went over 90 yards and had 8 catches. Wilson did it against the Bills, Palmer against the Falcons. We have tight end TJ Hawkinson, who caught all 9 of his targets for 70 yards in his Vikings debut. And Cordero Patterson. Split carries pretty evenly with Algier. Algier had 10 and Patterson at 13, but Patterson had 44 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had a long touchdown run called back.
Yes.
All right, Dave. Garrett Wilson is going into a bye week, but what do you want to say about him and Josh Palmer?
I think with Wilson, if he had a bad game this week, people would have dropped him during the bye. And now I don't think they can or should. I think that he's going to continue to see some good volume from Zach Wilson. I might sound a little bit like Heath now because Heath was talking about Garrett Wilson like this earlier this morning and earlier this week and earlier this season. So kudos to you, Heath, for being on top of it. And I actually thought Zach Wilson had a better game. I didn't see every throw that he made, but I thought he had a better game this week. And I thought Wilson did a better job of just being, he sometimes needs to be in the right place to catch some of these throws from Zach Wilson. I think he did it, and he did it against Buffalo. And I think that means something. So if we're talking about a wide receiver who's going to have a floor of 12 PPR points, 5 catches for 70 yards, and he could easily get into this type of range, 8 for 92, because contrary to Michael Carter being a winner, I don't know how often this Jets run offense is going to be like spearheading what the Jets do when they have the ball. I think Wilson's going to have to be involved. And he's still, I've said it before, an awesome route runner. So if you've got him, I think you should feel good about him as at worst a number 3 receiver rest of the year. And yes, Wilson ahead of Michael Pittman moving forward. Is it Josh Palmer ahead of Michael Pittman too? If we knew that Keenan Allen wasn't going to come back, I think I'd say yes. I really like that Palmer kept getting all this attention, certainly was used as a number 1 wide receiver. Definitely helped that he was playing against the Falcons, and they are a good matchup for all wide receivers, including DJ Moore on Thursday, by the way. And we've seen it from Palmer before. When one of the top 2 guys for LA is out, he steps in. He usually does a very good job. I think he'll continue to do that for however long Williams and Allen are both out. We don't know when Allen's coming back, and we think Mike Williams will be back in a couple of weeks. We'll wait and see on that one. Until then, happy to start Josh Palmer. I had him ranked as a number 2 receiver. I believe we all did on the site. We're probably all going to do it again in his next game.
I would like a compilation of the faces that Adam made during the Josh Palmer segment. It was well,
he hasn't been that good. I think it's better for him when Mike Williams is out than Keenan Allen's out. He plays Mike Williams' position, you know. But obviously it's just the targets. When they're both out, he's a must start. I don't know who's coming back first at this point. So I guess we can just reassess. But I don't think people should assume that they have a must start player rest of season. And San Francisco next week's going to be tougher than Atlanta. But you didn't say that. I'm not saying that David.
No, but I still think you should start Palmer next week because they're a team that struggles to run the ball no matter who they play. And now they're playing the 49ers. They're going to trail in this game next week. You know Palmer could see 10 targets again.
All right, Dave, real quick to wrap up your winners. Do you consider TJ Hawkinson? Unfortunately, he's at Buffalo, then Dallas, then New England in his next 3 games. Do you consider Hawkinson and or Patterson to be must-start players going forward?
I do. I'm really encouraged by Hawkinson getting 9 targets and then making 9 catches. He was a middle-of-the-field option on the majority of those targets, and it's just going to open things up even more for Minnesota. And they're really going to put this offense in position to be one of those pick-your-poison type deals. He's an upgrade over what they had at tight end. They played to his strengths, and he did a good job with it. It's a matter of time before he starts to pick up some end zone targets along the way. Patterson, not only did he split touches with Tyler Algier, they split snaps evenly too. They both played 38% of the snaps, but Cordero Patterson, 6 of 11 on 3rd and 4th downs, 4 of 7 inside the 10. There's an edge that he came back to in his very first game, and now he's going to be able to build off that moving forward. The short week is going to help him because his legs are going to be fresher than Carolina's defense. Cordero Patterson, a must-start fantasy running back who I might even put in the top 12 this week. I'm so excited about him.
Excuse me.
The Panthers.
Are you telling me we have the Falcons and the Panthers on Thursday Night Football?
I know you're excited. So just pause, deep breath, close your eyes if you're not driving, and just picture Marcus Mariota versus Baker Mayfield, PJ Walker, Arthur Smith versus Steve Wilkes. We're looking at the game of the year.
I also have that sexy Heath. Yeah, I think throw that in all the sounds of Heath Cummings.
I can't believe you just called Heath sexy.
Well, he is in that soundbite. Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Let's go to the losers here. Dave's losers are Gabe Davis, Aaron Rodgers, and Raheem Mostert. We haven't talked about him. Mostert with 9 carries, 26 yards, and a touchdown. He did have 2 targets, no catches. Jeff Wilson also had 9 carries. He had 51 yards, and he had 3 catches for 21 yards and a receiving touchdown. Oh, boy. Much too even of a split than we were hoping for here.
Yes.
So I guess you're moving Patterson ahead of Mostert.
Yeah, you've got to. And guess who played more snaps?
Wilson,
51% of the snaps for him. Mostert had more of the high-value snaps at 45%. And Mostert did play 4 of 5 snaps inside the 10. Wilson's touchdown catch was inside the 10, was it not?
It was right around,
I think it was right at 10 yards. So that must have been the one play that Wilson was in on, and he was just – I think he was lucky with that catch, but he still had 2 other catches for 11 yards outside of that one. This is going to be a split moving forward. I thought it would get to this point maybe in like 3 games, not in 1. And some of it has to be chalked up to playing Chicago. Their run defense isn't very good. And I think that Wilson was just able to capitalize. So we'll see what happens, but I don't think you can feel good about Mostert as a number 2 running back anymore.
East losers are DJ Moore, 2 catches, 24 yards on 6 targets.
Poor DJ Moore makes this list every week. He's either a winner or a loser.
Every week.
Back and forth, total schizophrenia with DJ Moore on our winners losers.
Yeah, well, he does get Atlanta on Thursday, as we just heard. DJ Moore, Khalil Herbert, who had 7 carries compared to 14 for Montgomery, and DeAndre Swift, who had 5 touches and 50 total yards.
And 9 snaps.
Wow.
It kind of seems like they're turning DeAndre Swift into like a situational player, like a third down type guy. I don't know if it's just a complete lack of trust that he can stay healthy or if he's that banged up still, but you cannot start DeAndre Swift with any confidence until this role changes. His current role is not one that is startable or really even flex worthy for fantasy purposes. It's very similar to the role of Khalil Herbert, who we hoped, after outplaying David Montgomery last week, would maybe have a chance to earn like a lead role, and got out touched 2-1 in the running game, and Montgomery saw the only running back targets. So that dream will die for at least another week. It looks like Baker Mayfield's going to be the starting quarterback for the Panthers. Baker Mayfield clearly hates DJ Moore, and so that would be a bad thing.
All right.
All right, so hold on.
Okay.
9 snaps for DeAndre Swift. 3 of them were on third downs. He had a 2nd and 17 snap. He had a 2nd and 20 snap. I'm sure he didn't have every single passing down snap that they had in this game, but it's a huge step backward. I wouldn't say that you can't trust him at all. I think he's a good bye-week running back in PPR.
I mean,
Not if he's going to get 10 touches.
Right. He's got one. I think he has one game this season with more than 10 touches.
He actually almost scored. He came a yard away.
He did.
He's really good.
It's just he only had 5 touches in this game, so 10, I mean, would be a dream come true.
He won't be a top 30 running back for me this week.
All right, you've got DeAndre Swift. You get a little notification. Adam Azer has offered you a trade. Cordarrelle Patterson for your DeAndre Swift. Accept or reject?
No.
I accept.
You can take Dave's going to take Patterson.
I'm not quite as optimistic on Patterson rest of season, partially because of his age, partially because today was mostly about scoring 2 touchdowns. Tyler Algier was far more efficient a rusher, and they had the same number of carries. So I don't think that means that Patterson's going to have a lot more carries than Algier next week.